What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Tanveer Talks. Last week, we covered Sony's state of play. We went over all the predictions and the actual games that they showed up, right? And it was our first video pod, but we're going back to audio. But I will bring back video sometime soon. But I'm going back to audio, right? And this week, today, and this episode, we're going to talk about tech, which is AI, right? Today's topic would be the agentic friction. So, and if you listen to the big keynotes from last month, right, this is the word you've roughly heard like 4,000 times, like agents. What does agents do, right? Right. We are told that this 2026 is going to be the year the chatbot dies and the agent is born. So they're saying that no more typing into the box, right? Just tell your phone to plan something, plan my vacation, plan my wedding, fix my supply chain, and it just happens, right? And the agent will do it automatically. Will find what it needs to find and then it'll do it, right? And McKinsey is projecting $100 billion market for it, this agentic AI by next year, right? So like I've been looking at the actual production data from the first 6 weeks of this year, right? And I feel like there's a gap, right? A massive, expensive gap, right? What I see, right? Right. So today we're gonna be talking about that, right? The agentic friction, why giving AI hands is a lot harder than giving it a voice, and why it is not the right solution yet. I would say, right? Why our to-do list might still be our own problem for a while longer. So let's get into it. So let's start with our biggest lie in AI right now. The idea that, if the agent saves us time, right? In theory, right, an agent handles like what, 10-step process, right? Which we don't have to, right? In reality, like what we are saying is like it's the babysitter paradox, right? It's basically like when you hire a human junior, right? Like basically if you hire a junior developer, you can eventually trust them to do it, right? But right now with current agentic workflows, even the high-end reasoning models, right, like Gemini 3 and such, right, there's a reliability ceiling, right? Research actually from Azure Tech Insider, right, this month showed that 74% of the production systems, right, still require human in the loop validation. So think about it, like you didn't outsource the task, you just changed your job from producer to editor in chief of an unreliable intern. Basically, that's what happened, right? Basically, we've like okay, we've got an AI. Okay, let's do AI. Right now, the agents will do it. We just tell it what it needs to do. But we had to hire people. Basically, we have companies are firing people because the agents can do so much, but they need to hire another set of people who will oversee this agent. Right? If agent makes a mistake, you still need people to look over them. Right? So still, like you're still hiring people. Basically, you could have just had the same people do the same task. You don't have to fire them in the first place, right? So I don't know what companies are thinking. So I so right. Basically, you're spending 20 minutes checking a task, right? That would have taken you like what, 30 minutes to do yourself, right? I don't feel like that is the revolution, right? It's just high tech micromanagement, honestly. The friction here isn't the AI's like its intelligence, right? It's the cost of the verification. Like if an agent is 95% accurate, right? That does sound great, but until you realize that in a 10-step chain, that 5% error rate is gonna compound, right? It's gonna be a lot. By like if the agent makes make a mistake in the third step, right? All other step will be making mistakes as well, right? Like that 5% error rate, like it's gonna be off the roof, right? Basically, your agent will be basically hallucinating in a dark room by itself. It'll be making up data on its own and thinking that it is doing the right thing. I don't think that is the right approach here yet, right? Um, I don't see it agent being necessarily useful as of yet, right? It's a good in a way, right? Where you wanna. So I don't think everything needs to have an agent, honestly, right? Basically, it's a task that we are only doing it once or twice a year. It doesn't need an automation. It doesn't need an agent. You can do it yourself. It doesn't need, only thing that needs automation is the regular task that you do. Even for developers, as a developer, I'm telling you this, I don't find agents that much useful because every time I tell it to do something, it does the opposite. It is useful in a sense like where you are, if you want to, like, okay, let's say you have hundreds of files, right? And you made a mistake in some of the coding, or you made a mistake while coding, you're exporting some Excel data sheet, right? And you made a mistake. Instead of going it yourself and changing the values yourself, you tell the agent to do it. You put it in the agent, tell the agent, hey, these are the Excel files. You need to change all these files wherever this error is, right? Let's say message, I wrote it as massage, right? I have to change the massage to message. Or every single file, wherever it finds it, right? I think that is the only reasonable approach right now for developers. I don't think it's there yet, right? Even then, if you tell it to do it, like it will do it, but you'll still have to see it yourself to did it even do it correctly? Because sometimes AIs have a habit of hallucinating. It'll forget the previous conversation that you had, right? And try to just insert it like, so just try to hallucinate itself. Try to say, oh, maybe you said this. It'll take the wrong context. It happens. It's not like perfect. So that's what I'm saying. Even though agents are here, I don't think they're there yet, right? They're there yet. Right? Still needs a lot of polishing before it can even replace real automation. A true automation, a true agent would not make mistakes. It has to be reliable. Otherwise companies will lose money. Like it doesn't make sense, right? To have agents. If it has, it needs to have a, it doesn't need to have a 95% success rate. It needs to have a 99.9% success rate. So there's little to no error. The error should not be there. The 5% error is too much in a big company, right? Or even for any, like, the processes can do it can it if the AI just makes a mistake in one of the steps, all the other steps are useless. Think about it, right? I don't think AI is there yet. So like it is going to be there. It's the future, but it's not true AI in a sense, right? It's agents. You tell it to do what it needs to do. Yes, it's there. So I think let's see how companies utilize it because still in the early phase of the AI, right? People are saying that AI bubble is gonna burst soon. It 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 will burst, like, because everyone's just trying to go about this the wrong way. I would say companies, that because the AI, the new buzzword is AI everything, right? I think what it needs to happen is they need to look at it themselves and see, do I actually need AI in this situation? You should use AI is only in situation that you need AI, not for everything else. Okay, now let's talk about the money because in Feb 2026, right, the AI honeymoon is officially over. So last year, like, we were all running pilots and using free credits, but now we're running at scale and the AI invoice is finally arriving. If 2024 was the year of the demo and 2025 was the year of the pilot, 2026 is the year of forensic accounting. You feel me? We've been told for years that, intelligence would be cheap to meter, right? But for anyone trying to run, a fleet of autonomous agents, they're finding out that the intelligence is actually becoming a massive, fluctuating line item that can sink a department's budget in a weekend. Think about that, right? It's it's constantly adding. The more they use this additions, more tokens, with agents it's gonna be more because if an agent makes a mistake, it's gonna add to the tokens. And it's gonna cost companies more to use it, right? And there's a concept I want you to get familiar with. It's called the inference iceberg, right? When you pay for ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, right? You see the tip, the $20 subscription, right? But underneath the water is the compute cost for reasoning. So in early 2026, right, when we moved into the era of thinking models like Gemini 3 Deep Think or the latest the GPT 5.1, 5.2, right, variants, right? Now we are at 5.2, right? GPT 5.2. These models don't just spit out an answer; they reason. through it. Like they have a deep thinking version of it. Thinking, there's a fast thinking and some other versions like that you can select on. I don't know if you ever use Copilot, right? You can select these kind of versions, right? And they reason through it, right? They don't spit it on, they reason it, and they generate thousands of inner monologue, and it takes more tokens. So it uses more tokens to generate those. It takes a bit of a time, right? And basically it's more like a premium service. And the tokens, like you don't see those tokens, right? Yeah, think about it, right? So basically think about it like this. A standard chatbot is like a cashier who knows the price of the milk. An agent is like a consultant who goes to the back, checks the inventory, and then calls the supplier, and then writes you a report on a future of dairy, right? That consultant is 100 times more useful, but they're also 100 times more expensive, right? So in a complex loop, where an agent has to try, fail, and retry, which they often do, you can easily spend like $5 or $10 in a compute cost just to automate a $2 data entry task. The math just does not close. And I was also reading a case study last week about a mid-sized fintech firm that replaced their level 1 support with agents. They saved about 50K, right, on human salaries, but the API bill jumped by 70K. Like they were saving 50K per a person to do the job, but the API is like costing them 70K, right? So they basically literally paid 20K more for the privilege of having the worst customer experience, right? This is the friction of unit economics, right? Unless your agent is solving a high value problem like medical coding, legal discovery, or a complex game dev, the energy cost of its brain is like currently higher than the value of its work. So I don't feel like it's there, right? Like if the company is just gonna let's see the new buzz AI, okay, like AI agents, and then invest in it, and without even thinking about that they actually need it, it's obviously gonna cost them more than have a person or a human, right? As you call it, as yeah, right? The dev, or like let's say a front dev, they okay. Like tomorrow they decided, okay, we want to remove a person UI development, right? We'll use AI to do all the UI developments. It will make mistakes, right? The UI developer, it will do, but it will make mistakes. The coding part of it, you have to adjust it. So someone who actually knows about coding will have to again, fix it. It's not going to work out of the box. So let's say they decided it. Like let's say company decided, okay, we're gonna completely remove our front end dev team. Imagine, how much back end team is gonna react, right? Because the front end team is all AI. Now the back end team has to do the work and look at the front end AI code, right? And it's gonna cost them more. It's gonna cost them more outages. It's gonna cost them performance issues. It's gonna cost them a lot, and I don't think it's there yet. And so if you're like a solo listener right now, right? Like maybe you are a gamer trying to build a mod, or a small business owner. My advice for 2026 is like really simple. Watch your API headers, stop looking at total cost and start looking at cost per successful task, right? If your agent tries 5 tries, right? If agent takes 5 tries to get a prompt, like a right prompt, basically, that agent is a luxury you probably cannot afford it yet, obviously, right? We're seeing a massive shift back towards small language models, like they're called SLMs for short. I know they run locally on your own hardware, like with NVIDIA, and I don't know if you know about it. They released AI helper on the side, right? A local language model which will run on the side, right? Which is actually really kind of good, right? Like why pay OpenAI to think when you can actually have a specialized tiny model running on your GPU for the price of electricity? And how the price of GPUs have increased because I don't know if you're following the news, NVIDIA, and they bought the production line, the TSMC that creates all the chips. They got it for 2 to 3 years. So because of that, the price of the GPUs have increased for desktop GPUs, basically, like the RTX models, right? Like their GPUs, the NVIDIA GPUs, because they're too solely focused on, as you guessed it, AI, right? They're new, and we're just pushing towards the AI. Like they want to do those localized hardwares, right? The friction, yeah, this year's Like, I feel like it's not just technical, right? It's financial, right? Don't let your AI dreams. So now I'm telling you, if you are thinking of investing, if your company is thinking of investing in, please think for a second. Like, does it actually make sense to do this? Or like, should we just scale back for now? And maybe in the future we'll try it out. Because right now it's not there yet. Right? It's like you're trying to fix a problem that isn't there. And you're bringing in more problems with it. And there is a third layer of friction that's a bit more existential. You might have heard of the dead internet theory, right? The idea that the web is becoming a graveyard of bots talking to bots, right? So like, it's not a, like now in this year 2026 is not a theory anymore. Like over 50% of web traffic is now automated. Like we're reaching a point of model collapse. These agents we're building are scraping the web to learn how to be better agents, basically, right? But the web, but the truth is, the web they're scraping is increasingly filled with stuff made by other agents. It's basically like a digital embedding. The friction here is that the AI is like starting to lose its edge because it's missing the human signal, right? If you notice that your like AI responses are feeling a bit recycled or bland lately, you don't use them. Why it is, right? You're hit with a wall of synthetic data. And for those of us trying to use AI for creative or strategic work, the friction is finding anything original left in the machine. So there's no originality anymore. If you think about it, like let's say you're a coder, you want to go to you encountered an issue. You're gonna go ask AI. What does AI have? Right? It's not gonna look at Stack Overflow, right? Like it has the data, but it's not gonna look at the actual correct data. With the one in Stack Overflow, if you ask for somebody for an answer, somebody gives the good answer, there are more people like it, more people like the correct answer. It'll have a check mark on it. AI does not care about the check mark. The only thing you care about is that how many responses it has, right? Right? It's gonna probably try to give you all the wrong answer there is, right? And I've tried it myself here too, right? Sometimes the AI will spit out random data that like random BS basically that does not even exist, right? About something. Like you ask it to fix this problem, right? It will, instead of fixing it, it will create more of a problem. Like I can write a better code than an AI can, right? And in that way, it is good. It gets me like good information. It helps my coding. The bad thing is I'm not going to Stack Overflow anymore. Nobody's gonna give good answers. Hence, the AI will not have the answer. So basically, the human signal, human touch is gone. People with actual thinking skills is gone. It's just agents talking to agents, right? You tell an agent, okay, I need you to find something in this file, right? And then create a dashboard out of it, like do whatever, right? Yeah, it will make mistakes, but at the end of the day, it's gonna look at the internet to try to fix a problem. Like you tell him, okay, let's say you have a bug in the code. You tell the agent, find the bug, fix it, and then deploy it. What if that agent, even though it finds the code, but then introduces some bad code again and then deploys it to production? Even though it got the answer, but it got the wrong answer. It did not get the right one. I think I think the Stack Overflow, like those kind of stuff, that still needs to be there, right? I think companies specifically, need to focus less on AI and focus more on people that they currently have and have that genius people, ideas come forth rather than having the AI do everything for you. So I've spent so much time, being this skeptical architect, right? So does this mean agents are a scam? No, absolutely not, right? It just means like we need to change how we use them. So basically what we need to do, if you're building basically if you're building an agentic workflow, right? Don't try to automate a 20-step process. Keep it to maybe 3 steps, like to fetch the data, summarize the data, present to a human for a yes and no click, right? Don't let AI do the whole thing. Don't let AI send the email. Don't let AI execute, without a personal touch, without a human touch to prep the work. Yeah, it's not going to work. Like you watch over it, what you're doing. You need to fix it. You need to know like You have to keep the eyes for yourself, right? And the most successful people in AI right now are the ones trying to replace themselves, right? They are the ones using AI to eliminate the boring 80% to so that they can focus on the critical 20%, right? Look at devs, right? When they're using AI and they're using Copilot in their VS Code or any other IDE, right? They're basically when they're using those Copilot, basically they're trying to reduce all the research, all the boring surfing on web about a critical question that they had or some code problem that they are not able to find out. Limiting those steps, they are removing those barriers. Now they get answers in seconds. Now they get answers for their code in seconds. Now if they have an issue, they can just ask the AI, why do I have this issue? I'm getting this error. AI will tell you right away. So that is the critical 20%. That is and the boring 80% that it is trying to remove. I think I've said it enough today, right? So this was our not usual episode, right? So thanks for listening to me rant about this AI, right? I know AI is gonna be in the future, right? So yeah, let's see how it goes, right? The AI is not gonna go away. The bubble is kind of real, but but the companies who are using it correctly, for them, it's not a nightmare. It's actually a blessing, and if they know how to use it correctly, awesome. So if you found this reality check helpful, please leave a comment down this video on Spotify, on YouTube, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Tanveer Ramgarhia, Tanveer Talks Official. If you're not able to find it, go to Punjabi Gamer 786 on X, follow me there, and also on Spotify, Tanveer Talks, my podcast. Please sign up. If you're listening on Spotify, leave a comment there. If you're listening on YouTube, leave a comment there, and have a great day.